Hey guys, what's going on? Absolutely Beast here, bringing you guys a couple of races today on Forza Motorsport 6. So starting out, I'm using the Carrera GT, which quite possibly might be the best sounding car that's ever been created. That's up for debate. I mean, the Lexus LFA is right there, and I personally think the Aventador is right there, but that's just me. So, I wanted to just sort of talk about what to expect today from Forza Motorsport 7. I've done a bunch of videos, and before I go any further, the support from you guys has been so awesome. I'm so grateful. I have a lot more views than I'm used to getting, which has been really cool, and it's been ramping up a lot in the last few days, and I'm pretty excited about that. So it's exciting to know that you guys are out there and you care about Forza 7 as much as I do, and are hopefully as passionate about it as I am, and want to find all the information you can. And I know there's really not a lot out there, so I'm just trying to bring as much as I can. Even if I cover some information 2 or 3 times over the course of different videos throughout the week or whatever, I just want to be really thorough in covering all the stuff that I can. And I also, like I said yesterday in my video, I want to be accurate with the information. There's a lot of people out there who just throw up a video just to throw it up and put up some opinions that may or may not actually be true, and a lot of times they're false. I've heard a lot of false things that just kind of make me upset when I hear them, because it's just like, man, you're putting this video out there for people to see, and people are going to take this as fact. They're going to assume if you're making a video about something that you've researched it and you know what you're talking about. So that's just something that I hope to bring to you guys, is just accuracy. That's something I strive for, not just here in the videos, but in the games I play, and just in everything. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for engaging and leaving your comments and stuff on the videos, and just sort of leaving likes or dislikes, whatever it may be. I really appreciate that. So the second race that I do is absolutely hilarious. The livery that I put on the car is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So I just had to include that because it made me laugh. I mean, I'm under the impression, and you guys might agree with this, but if you're looking at like a YouTube video or even like an online article or something, about 1 in 25 comments is really, really funny and really well thought out. And I don't know if half those people sit there for like 15-20 minutes coming up with a comment, but seriously, like 1 in 25 comments is so funny, it makes my stomach hurt. And this was one of those deals with this livery. I couldn't believe that there was actually a livery like this. Someone painted their car like this, so I downloaded that. But I just kind of wanted to talk about what to expect from Forza 7, because I've put up a bunch of videos, and they're kind of not necessarily all over the place, but I've just been covering different topics in each one. Obviously the first thing you can expect is a really polished game, a level of quality that you don't get from a lot of games. Forza Motorsport is one of the few games on the Xbox or any console, but I mean, it's not on the PlayStation, but it's one of the few console games that runs at a locked 60 frames per second. There's very few out there, and it's a real task for somebody to be able to find the optimization and the efficiency to get these low-speed CPUs running up to 60 frames per second like that. And the fact that Turn 10 has done this with a 4K graphics resolution, oh my goodness, it's nothing short of spectacular. So this is going to be one of the better looking games you'll see, and maybe for a little while. Even you look at this game, Forza Motorsport 6, this game is one of the better looking games on the console right now still, and it's 2 years old. And considering development time, it was maybe even a year before that. So this game is several years old basically, and it still is one of the better looking games on the console. And that's a real testament to how forward thinking they are with their stuff. So expect a really high quality, polished product. They don't have a lot of glitches. They don't have a lot of issues like that. I mean, they're a very thorough company. Expect a quality game. They talk a lot about. Dan Greenwald has talked a lot about a lot of different things, but one of the things he harps on a lot has talked about a few times, is the physics first aspect of it. Really focusing on the physics part of it first, and putting the driver first, and the feel of the cars and the way they handle and stuff first, which is something that he's talked about. And one of the things he said is that they got to and coming up here is going to switch over to this other race. And guys, I was looking for a livery to put on the car. I was just going to stick with the original Xbox one, as just racing this car for an achievement. It's racing this Ford car around Bathurst. But in the description of this one, it was literally a Reese Witherspoon livery. So somebody painted their whole car for Reese Witherspoon. It says Reese on the back, and it says Reese Witherspoon on the front bumper. and it's got pictures of her on the side. And I mean, to think about how much time someone must have spent to make this livery, it just made me laugh so hard. Because I enjoy random humor, but it has to be truly random, you know? Like, you see all these people with, like, you know, these names like Valid You and you know, Uncaring Zebra and all these, like, you know, whatever names, and they're just not random enough. They're almost predictably random. But something like this, I mean, who would have thought someone would paint their car with a Reese Witherspoon on it? A Reese Witherspoon face. I mean, oh my goodness. Absolutely hilarious. So, Dan Greenwald was just saying they really want to do the physics part of it first. So this is a game that, even though I mean, if you see it and you only watch it in 1080p, you could think, well, okay, that looks similar to Forza 6, but this really seems like almost an overhaul. I mean, they overhauled the whole career. They overhauled you know, pulling the driver out of the car and getting to drive. This is my first time driving this car, by the way, and the drive tires are maxed out, so this is going to be not a good race, not a pretty race. You know, they redid all the Drivatar stuff, so you get all these extra, like, you can get all these rewards and change the customization of your driver. They put in almost double the cars. They remapped a bunch of tracks. They added in tracks that were there from the past. They did this new loading screen where instead of just sitting at the loading screen and loading while looking at pictures of the track, you're actually just going to be sitting on the track near the pits with your car, which is really cool. I mean, it seems like they've really gone in and really revamped a bunch of stuff, because if you think about it, you know, there's really not a ton they can change with these games. I mean, these games are sort of a specific thing every year. They're sort of a you know, racing simulator. Not the hardest core of racing simulators, but definitely, you know, a you know, significant driving simulator with simulation steering and traction control, stability management control, ABS braking, manual with clutch shifting. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that goes into it, so there's really not a ton they can change in that aspect. So, you know, it seems like they went through and revamped basically everything. Just looked at every last thing, and he talked about, Dan Greenwald talked about the attention to detail, and they're going back and streamlining their engine, which is already a streamlined enough engine. If they can run 60 frames per second on the Xbox, you know, on that low power of a thing, with only a, you know, 1.8 or even 1.7 gigahertz processor, they can run 60 frames per second. It's basically nothing short of a miracle, which is why pretty much them and Call of Duty are about the only two that do it at 60 frames per second on the console. I mean, it's just, you know, it's crazy that they're able to do that. So he said they went through and they made everything super efficient, and this was designed specifically for the Xbox One X, he was saying, is that all their efficiency stuff that went into that actually made the engine more efficient in general. So it actually benefits the One S, it benefits the Xbox One, the OG Xbox One, and it benefits even the PC users, because they can lower their minimum specifications for what you need to run this on a PC, so it actually affected everything. So it just seems like they really went the extra mile with this game. You know, Porsche just signed a 6-year deal with them, so if that doesn't say something, you know, Porsche didn't even authorize them to use their cars in previous games. You had to drive like the RUF, like the RUF, which is just like an aftermarket Porsche, equivalent of like a Celine or a Shelby Mustang, but they weren't called a Porsche, they were just called RUF, or Rough, and, you know, now Porsche has come around and said, okay, there's a lot of people playing Forza, we want to put our cars in these games and get our name out there. And they know that Forza will take care of, and I know that Turn 10 and Forza will take care of their cars and not, you know, ruin them. And so they got to work with their factory drivers, and they got to do all kinds of stuff. So they got to, and using the name of Microsoft Studios, which is Microsoft's a huge company, they got to exclusive access to like all sorts of research and, you know, tire stuff that they were researching, like different, you know, whatever you call it, temperatures and grips based on the different times of the track. I mean, like there I'm driving through shade, and there I'm driving through sun. I mean, in the Forza 7, those are going to be different grips. They're going to have different grip, each of those. And as the sun starts to set later or whatever, you're going to have different grip on that too. So expect a very dynamic game. Very dynamic, everything. You're not just every race when you go back to a track is it going to be different, because it's already like that on Forza 6. But every time you go back on Forza Motorsport 7, it's going to be drastically different. And not even that, every lap is going to be different. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy how dynamic it is. It's really going to take a lot of getting used to, I think, for a lot of people to really have to worry that much about it. Because I mean, a lot of people have struggled to stay on the track just at all, let alone, you know, when everything's dynamic and everything's always changing. So you know, expect, like I said, just really polished game. You know, expect something with deep customization. They really went hard, and they've been harping on the customization just relentlessly, almost too much in my opinion. Just all the time talking about the 700 plus cars and the 300 plus driver gear outfits, which I get it. They're really focusing on customization. They really want you to be able to customize this to your liking. Same with the career. The customizing is you can start whatever class you want. You can make the races as long as you want or as short as you want. You can just breeze through the career in one lap races and unlock a bunch of cars real quick, or you can do hour-long endurance races all the time and really stretch out the career and really spend your time doing it. So it just sounds like they've gone hard to give us customization, which is kind of, I guess, what gamers want nowadays is a lot of customization, which in my mind people should kind of understand a little bit that the more customization they put in, the less attention to the real gameplay aspects of it they can do. But that that's just, they only have limited resources to work with. So if they're putting all their efforts into, like, one thing he said that kind of made me worried was, he said, not Dan Greenwald, but one of the other guys, Ryan something, who's I think he's the executive producer at Turn 10, saying that the guys were staying in the office late at night, like worrying about the colors of the gloves and the stitching on the gloves. And he said, these guys put as much time into the suits as they put into the cars, which I don't think he meant it that way, but to me that sounds backwards. So that's just part of what I think of that sort of the scary road we go down of customization, which is actually what Gran Turismo Sport's trying to do. They're trying to go the opposite. They're saying then the game became about collecting cars, and we want to change. We want to get back to the roots, and so they're getting back to the roots of the competition. So, but either way, they've gone really hard to prove in Forza 7 that they really want to customize the game and really want us to be the center of the game, which is really cool. And they really want it to be polished. They really want it to be dynamic everywhere. And they really want it to be, very optimized and sort of a lengthy, experience where you can return to it time and time again. They talk about this big, quote, big reward or significant reward at the end of the career that's going to make you come back to play it again. They talk about specific showcase events where you can unlock specific cars that you can only unlock there, specific driver suits you can only unlock from specific things. So it's going to be pretty interesting, to say the least, with all the different stuff they're going to do. I expect a really, really deep game. And I expect, this is the game that's going to showcase their Xbox One X, their 4K, their 60 frames per second, their HDR. They're just incredible, incredible depth of graphics, and I think it's going to look absolutely spectacular. Again, even if you don't have the One X, it's going to look absolutely phenomenal. They've said that a million times. So this last clip here, sorry for the mic static if you can hear it. With no audio, it's a little more pronounced. But these are just sort of my driving stats here. I know maybe some of you guys are interested in that, so you can see my driven there. I think it's about 25,000 miles. I have some affinity there with cars that are maxed out, but I really only raced, maybe a dozen or 20 different manufacturers. You can see on the next screen my time raced. Total time in the game is about 400 or 425 hours, so that's a little bit off, but that's just driving time. You can see my tuning time in the next page, which is about 35 hours. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking this out. Thank you again for all the support. Thanks for checking out my videos and coming back to them, checking more of them out. Make sure you check out the other ones on my channel if you haven't seen all my other Forza 7 videos the past week leading up to this. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. I've really been trying to dig up all the stuff I can find on Forza 7 and kind of compile it. So thank you guys for checking it out. I sincerely appreciate it. See you later.